Are we
Check,
going?
check.
I think you did.
Oh,
Mic check. 1 2 1 2. Something. All right, we good.
I think you did. For sure.
All right.
what episode is this?
Episode
10.
8.
8.
You say 8.
I done said 10.
We gonna
So
get
what?
there.
I was saying it's around.
Okay, appreciate it.
Use your headphones, right?
Huh?
Use your headphones.
Do I what?
Use your headphones, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. All the cameras rolling? That.
Rolling.
All right, we're good. All right. Cool. All right. What's up, y'all? Welcome to episode 8, I think, of the table.
8.
I think it's 8.
8.
Y'all need to check me if it's not 8.
I mean,
But anyway, welcome
one
to
of them.
episode 8. We are joined by Miss Shanika. We're joined by Miss Portia. We're joined by my brother Tavon.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Tavon, you're new to the table.
Yeah, for sure.
But you are old to We Need to Talk.
Oh,
so
for sure.
for the people who don't know, introduce yourself if you don't mind.
Yeah, my name is Tavon. Yeah, I'm here. Here to talk about what we're getting into today. I know it's gonna be juicy, and I'm ready for all of us to dive right in. Juicy.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get started, quick announcement. If you have been a VIP level Patreon member, please send me your address. Be expecting one of these. These are official We Need to Talk mugs. You know what I'm saying? We're sipping on something light. But if not, if you are an executive tier or executive producer level member, if you upgrade to a VIP level member, you'll also receive one of these. Or if you've been, or if you're just an executive, you'll receive a 50% discount. So if you are at the lowest tier, consider upgrading. And then later down the line, I'll drop them for everybody. So yeah, if you mess with these, if you like them,
Not
consider
exclusivity.
upgrading. Yeah, it's a little exclusive. A little exclusive. They're expensive, so you know what I'm saying?
VIP. Top notch.
But yeah, so let us get into today's topic. As always, my name is Alan. I'm your host for this evening. Portia, I'm gonna start with you because you got the homework. So there are multiple things before we get started. There's multiple things I want to touch on.
All right.
I want to touch on the Yellow Flag series. I want to touch on, I believe I sent this to you on Instagram, those series where it's like people line up.
Popping the
then,
balloons.
Yeah. And then they like, if I like you, I don't pop your balloon. And then there was something else I feel like I sent you. It'll come to me. But where you want to start?
We can start with the yellow flags.
Okay, talk to me. I gave you an assignment to watch every single episode. I know 2 episodes for sure that stuck out to you. But what are your thoughts? What are your questions, disagreements? And we'll go from there.
Thoughts. It was a good series. Not gonna lie, it wasn't just a bunch of spewing crap from a hurt place, which I appreciate. I did have some quarrel with a few of them because, first of all, I'm a makeup artist. Don't be telling people I'm a yellow flag because I'm not. But I respect that it's also, there's a disclaimer that goes along with all of it that's it's a yellow flag, so it may or may not be an issue.
Right.
I was also concerned before I watched it with the tattoos episode, but then I understood it after I actually watched it. So I would encourage anyone, especially us women, to watch it not from a place of putting yourself in that position, but looking at people that are represented by those genres, whether it be the occupation, like the bartenders the cosmetologists the nurses take yourself out of it and look at people in those positions, and you'll find a lot of similarities to what was being said. Don't look at me like that. You'll find a lot of similarities to what's being said because, wow, I get offended by it from a woman's standpoint, taking woman out of it and going, well, my homegirl, okay, I know there's valid, there's validity here. It was uncomfortable. It frustrated me quite a few times in a few episodes. But again, I understood it, the logic behind it, and I could see where there's always exceptions to a rule. The overwhelming majority made sense. I won't say it was true, but I would say it made sense. 'Cause I'm not thinking that it wasn't all true, but it made sense. Yeah. Okay, that's my take on it.
We'll come back to it. Shanika, what What are your thoughts?
Let's see. I'm with her, retired cosmetologist. So, you gotta ease up. You gotta ease up.
Playing our face no more.
One more time. No, I'm just joking. But like she said, a lot of it was valid. And it was kind of crazy to me because I was at a period when I started my healing journey. I was kind of researching and just kind of observing different men, the women that they went for, the different caliber of man. And I was starting to say, okay, well, this caliber man, a high caliber man tends to go for da-da-da-da-da. And so it was just ironic for me to see you hit on a lot of that in those yellow flags. And I was like, it almost triggered me a little bit. But it was,
right?
It almost triggered me. But then I hit pause a lot of times too. But it was the truth. And what I've learned on the healing journey, accountability is the biggest thing. So it kind of said, okay, you were right. And then it was kind of like, you a couple of those. So yeah, I mean, it was a good series overall. Like she said, it came from, almost, a good place, not a spewing trauma or, just very opinionated. And like she said, a yellow flag. I think a lot of them could be situational, but that's just saying, pay attention to this, because it could breed this. So.
Yeah, for sure. Like definitely, first of all, the title is phenomenal because just what it embodies, it's kind of deep diving a little bit into various topics or things that we consider yellow flags. And I think the title is important because, like what's already been stated, is that it may not necessarily be a red flag, but it is like take heed, as you say earlier, take heed. It's kind of like open your eyes to see what's really, really going on. And there were a lot of valid points made in the series so far.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Let me ask y'all this: other than the ones that triggered y'all, which ones stood out to y'all? Like, yo, if I had a son, I'm definitely telling him this, or to look out for this, or to be aware of this. Because I want to preface it by saying the entire point of the series was, if I could talk to my younger self, right, after my experiences with women, what are some things that I should have paid more attention to initially?
Roll down the list of the names of them and I can tell you.
I remember one was about hair, one was about nails, one was about makeup, tattoos, clothes, social media, her job.
Social media. Okay. Because I'm not, like, I have the advantage of growing up in a world before social media, and now I'm in the world with social media. And it has truly taken over people's persona and lives. Like, I was watching the new season of Love is Blind, and one of the questions they were asking each other through the walls were, how many followers do you have on social media? Like, you watch a lot of shows now, that is a topic. Like, how many followers do you have on Instagram? Do you have TikTok? Do you have this, that? Like, what does it do to tell you that? When someone that's one of like the first few questions. Why does it matter? Are you gauging your life off of social media? I would tell my son or daughter, any person that gauges your worth off of the amount of people on your social media, baby, they don't live in reality. You can't, because social media is a platform where people get to be on there and put forth any personality that they want to. Now, some of it's genuine in content, but how do you get to decide what is and what isn't? So for me, if that is something that you value enough to put in the first few, like 3 questions of getting to know somebody, you are not living on this side of reality. And I can't support that. I agree wholeheartedly with that one. That's it. That's the only one wholeheartedly. Because you get your grin going on like you right or something. They bring you back.
Listen, pull back in.
Reel it in.
Okay, what about you?
I don't know. Skip me. Give me.
Okay, let's go to the one that you guys like fervently disagreed with, and why. Which one were you like, this nigga full of shit?
Makeup artist, because I'm a makeup artist. Duh. Like, literally, I was getting ready for a client while listening because I had to find ways. I couldn't just watch it because, again, I was going to be mad. So I'm getting ready for a client, and I heard makeup artist. This is me turning back to my iPad. What the fuck? Like, you're not even in the room.
You ain't
I'm
even,
like, I'm ready to fight
sir.
you because, like, what? But that, like, no. That's not true. Not
What
all
part?
of us. Not like that. It's a profession you got to have a yellow flag for altogether. Why? Can you tell me why? Go ahead.
Before I do,
Okay.
Tavar, what are your thoughts based on your observations / experiences with cosmetologists? Is there some validity to that profession being a yellow flag?
There is some validity to it. For me, I think more so just from my experience, it's more of just the vanity portion. Really just, it is a profession. So some people go into it with, that is what they're passionate about. But some of them go into it because maybe it started with an insecurity, where maybe that's why they're passionate about it, but it's like to adjust to that. Oh, let me learn how to make up so I can constantly look beautiful, constantly get affirmation. So it, like, again, it's a yellow flag for sure.
I ain't mad at that. Okay.
To elaborate on what the brother's saying, I think what I found at least is that, and I've been saying this especially about our community of women. I think our community overindulges / overemphasizes beauty and aesthetics, right?
Okay.
And I think oftentimes it's a cop-out for not wanting to fix like actual substantive problems, whether personality traits or things that make it difficult for you to be a partner to a man of caliber. So because I'm not willing to touch that, what I'm willing to do is just like maximize what I know I'm good at. I know I look good, so I'm gonna just maximize looking my absolute best. And then I found, whether it's cosmetologists or even hairstylists, because by virtue of their profession, they're constantly taking in information, and oftentimes it's the information from other women who are going through dramatic situations, and it becomes a situation sometimes where it's like, my dramatic situation has to be better than their dramatic situation, so I have a story to tell, and I'm looked at as this sage, this wise woman. Versus if I was vanilla, my clients might not want to mess with me because it's like, oh, she's goody two shoes. I don't feel comfortable in her chair. So sometimes I think subconsciously people in the beauty industry rack up stories to be, I guess, better therapists for their clients.
I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Just know that ain't me. Maybe. We
Just throwing it out there.
And with the retired cosmetologist sitting right here.
It's all right. Everything is fine. We hear you. We hear you, brother.
But and it kind of segues into the beauty piece because I think episode 2 or 3, it was about makeup and tattoos, right? And tattoos. The overarching theme for that one was like masculine. But with makeup, the overarching theme for that one was like smoke and mirrors, right? It was vanity, right? And as a dude who's dated women, I've noticed that women who are overly preoccupied with their appearance can be very vain, right? So again, it's not a foregone conclusion that she's a bad woman, but she can be very vain, and I think sometimes it might be an indication of how, and I think I said this in the series, how she handles her problems, right? And I know as makeup artists, you guys have seen it. She's got terrible skincare, but she just piles on shit on top of it. Does she do that with her credit? Does she do that with her health? Does she do that with her relationships? I'm gonna just pile on. I'm gonna put glitter on it so it looks good externally, but like the reality of what it is trash. So that's why it's a yellow flag for me. I'm kind of quiet.
I'm processing what you're saying to make sure I'm listening.
I'm not negating what you're
I'm
saying.
hearing what you're saying.
And I'm not disagreeing that there's some out there. I guess it just triggered me because that's my profession.
Yeah.
And my goal in my business is the opposite of that. It's enhance what you already have. It's kind of what my business model is.
Right.
And I'm one that if your skin is too bad, I'll turn you away. And that's not being mean to you. I learned that from a friend who's a cosmetologist who wouldn't do someone's hair because their scalp was too bad and she wanted like a sew-in. And she taught me that if your hair is too weak, I can treat it and I can train your hair, but I'm not going to put something on top of it that's going to do more harm. And she's who trained me in makeup, and she was like, you have to understand that your client's wants is not always more important than what your service provides.
Yeah, that's solid though.
So like I said, I'm one that tries to go in the opposite realm and make sure women understand, like, when you come sit in my chair, what you came in here with is the most beautiful person you had. It's what's going to be the most beautiful of you. You're going to leave here enhanced, but that's not what's most important. But that's my business model. And I don't speak for all women, but it also offended me because it's like, you got me fucked up. You're not talking about me.
Categorized.
But when I take myself out of it, I get it. And I understand, thinking about people I know in this industry, in cosmetology, all the likes of you, I also understand because I see it.
Yeah.
I've witnessed it. It's kind of what made me go into my own direction and follow my own path of it because I wanted to change the narrative. So I get it. I don't like it that you like to call it out.
Right.
I'll say this. I think hairdressers, from a drama perspective, are worse than makeup artists.
Absolutely, because we don't have time to be talking about drama with you. We're doing your face. Your jaw's got to be
Hold on.
Think about your hairstylist. Think about your girlfriend's hairstylist. She always got some shit going on.
I guess it's kind of like, I feel like Portia just said, I wasn't that stylist. It was a certain atmosphere, you knew what you're going to get when you came in there. Like, I didn't allow certain things, certain music, different things like that. So I guess it all boils down to your audience, you know, too. But in drama, that I've never done that, so I don't do. But you're right. Like she said, I had to take myself out and say, okay, all right, he right a little bit, but you know, we gonna go with it. But the majority of the time, I've been in salons and watched the drama unfold and was like, this is insanity.
That TV probably
and that's why, and that's why I was particular about where I worked before I had my own salon. I was particular about what space I went into as a cosmetologist because my people had to, you know, encounter that. And if I just seen your client walk out and you just dogged her and told us everything she just told you about her husband cheating on her and everything else, what in the world do you say about us when we leave out of here? So I guess it goes down to, just like you said, it's a root to everything is what I feel like. It all goes down to the value behind that profession. So if you messy and dramified, that's going to spill over in everything.
1000%.
Who you are as a person, I teach my business clients this, who you are as a person, if you don't fix you, it's going to sabotage everything connected to you, your relationships, your business, whatever it is, because all of that is rooted in your values. And if you don't have any, all that's going to spill over eventually. So
I think another thing that inspired me to do that series is like, and Tavon, you can probably speak to this too. As dudes, we don't get any blueprint, right? We don't get any blueprint as far as vetting women, past the obvious stuff. Her body count high, you know what I'm saying? She a stripper, shit like that. But as far as like the nitty gritty, what does she do for a living? How does she keep her space? How does she act? How does she talk? How does she walk? What kind of music does she listen to? What's her diet like? Right. We don't get any of that. And then on top of that, and I think I said this on another episode, as men, we are taught to assume the best of women. And if her performance is lacking, we are taught to, good men, we're taught to take responsibility for it. So she's not her best woman is because I'm not a good enough man, right? Because the idea is if I take care of her properly, if I show her, teach her the right way. You hear women all the time, when I meet a man worth submitting to, then I'll submit. When I meet a man worth cooking for, then I'll cook. So a lot of men have also heard that. And it's like, yo, if she's not her best self, it must be because I'm not that dude. I'm not doing enough. I'm not buying her enough flowers. I'm not paying enough for her bills. I'm not showing her enough new stuff. I'm not teaching her enough, whatever the case may be. So I think it's important that men in particular start being proactive in our vetting, because we're taught that it's just about how good can you tap dance for her. So on date one, it's not about if I like her past wanting to sleep with her, because that's why I'm there. It's like, does she like me? How can I make her like me? Maybe if I take her to another restaurant that's not cheesecake, then she'll like me. Maybe if I drop $300 on the bill, then she'll like me, whatever. And the whole time you're not thinking about if you actually like her.
Exactly.
Right.
And then it's not until y'all have sex and the rose-colored glasses lift and you realize, I really don't like this bitch. She fine.
She get on my nerves.
She get on my goddamn nerves. I don't like how she smell. I don't like how she walk. I don't like how she... And a lot of women complain about men hitting that flip. And it's like, yo, that energy you came with, no, he got to know you.
Yeah, definitely.
He got to know you.
He like,
Yeah, for sure. Like, and kind of, I think if I remember correctly, one of the yellow flags on there was family. I think it was mentioned on there. And it kind of goes to just branching off what you just said. So obviously, growing up, we always just innately as men, we just always go for, I don't know, we want our friends to be like, yeah, you got a bad chick, like, just to get that little ego boost, but as you continue to grow and get older, I think it becomes like, now we have kids. And now when we talk about, if we're dating with a purpose and things like that, we have to not only consider our lives, but the lives of our kids as well. And so when we talk about family, I think that when you mentioned family as being a yellow flag, I think that was key. Primarily because as people, we know that everybody and anybody is capable of anything. So you cannot with 100% certainty say what somebody is going to do. So that being said, we have to make decisions off of what is probable. We have to make decisions off what is probable. So of course, when we talk about family and upbringing, and somebody be like, oh, you're not going to like me because my family is this way. Well, I'm not saying that you can't be the unicorn out of that situation. Yeah, you can be, absolutely. People do it all the time. But for me, if I'm going off of what is probable, I'm going to look at what your family is like. I'm going to look at how you were brought up, what was instilled in you, because I know it's more probable that you will be this way. So, and because I don't know what anybody is going to do, I will make my decision off of that. When we talk about long term, we talk about life partners and things of that nature. I think that is key. I think that's very key.
One thing I've noticed, and maybe you've noticed it too, but a woman has the ability to turn you into her father. Right? Like whatever toxicity. Now I'm talking about if her father is in her life, whatever toxicity she's used to from him, she will in some way, shape, or form, maybe by her demeanor, maybe by her interaction with you, kind of nudge you into her comfort zone. Because ultimately, people don't want better, they want familiar. Right? And that's why you see people or women, men, it looks like they're dating the same woman or man over and over again, just with different faces. Because unfortunately, we don't want better, we want familiar. And if you're not careful, just like you said with the family, her family hood as hell and they like to fight and argue and things like that. And she's the exception until you get to know her. You realize, she the same exact way. She might be a lipstick version of it.
Right.
But because that's her comfort zone. That's what family looks like to her. So when y'all try to create a family, her idea is starting from that place. And oftentimes we skip over that consideration.
Yep, absolutely.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it goes both ways. That can be flipped on and saying that's the same for men. So I'm not gonna disagree with it because if I flip it on to the other side, but just know it's for y'all too.
It's for both.
And people were saying like, why don't you make a yellow flags for women about men? And it's like a lot of that stuff is crossed over. Like one of the episodes was about the sister mother goddess, like spiritual chakras and candles and crystals, women. I would say, or the one that was about women who want to be famous, I would say it's the same exact thing for men who want to be famous.
But you need to put it out there. As for
it needs to be.
My audience is men.
We need to know.
My audience is men. Women don't listen to me.
My audience is women. No.
Majority.
We gotta.
Because your content is centered around.
I'll make one. Don't worry about Portia. I'm gonna make
so
one.
if you make some that is more so letting us know or giving us a blueprint on the yellow flags for men, then you'll have more women viewers.
I will say this though. This is what I would say. Because I've actually done videos, now that I think about it, that were aimed towards women. The problem is, Some men are guilty of this, but I think more so women. Some men think they got magic in their dick. And they could and you talked about it too, like they could transform a woman and she ain't had me yet and shit like that. 98.9% of women feel that way. So if I was to make a list of men who not to mess with or deal with or whatever the case may be, I don't think it would move the needle, unfortunately, because women think with their emotions. And it's always about the exception. Yeah, he's an artist. Yeah, he's a crystal nigga, but like he's got a good heart and he just needs somebody to love him. And he needs somebody to hang in there with him.
Fix him up.
Right? So I think it might be a waste of my time.
Look, that's a nice light.
I think it might be a waste of my time.
How hard it hit me.
Listen,
We can make that.
there's some ego.
We can do it together.
It's ego, and I'm tired of women thinking it's a failing of men, because the reality of men is, and Tavon, you probably speak to this too, men are myopic as hell. What you see is what you get. Women are the ones who are dynamic. I can make more of an argument for a woman or a man thinking that he could transform a woman, because y'all motherfuckers transform daily, than a woman thinking she could transform a man.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's true.
But that's where we at.
They pick the yellow flags and red flags anyway. Talk about that.
I think it's Six Flags.
Because it's easier.
Red flags turn to Six Flags.
It's
Yeah,
easier.
basically.
But I've had men say that. I go for lesser than because it's easier.
Oh man,
It's easy. I've had, and my eyes
Yikes.
just, I was in a deer in the headlights, and I said, that was the first and last day. Because what did you just say? You go for lesser because it's easier. And as a woman, you think I'm going to be okay with you telling me that concerning other women, that I'm going to feel puffed up. I knew who I was before I sat down at the table with this chicken with you.
what part did he mean by, or whoever the person was? What did he say? What he meant by easier? Like what regard?
I won't use the term because I'm a woman. I'm not going to use that term. Let's say a lower caliber woman, in their eyes per se. Because I feel like that's by definition of whom is saying it. But a lower caliber that speaks to a lot of the yellow flags you talked about. Some of those women that may be a yellow flag or even a red flag.
He said because it's easier to deal with, like
It's
in terms of
easier to keep them, maintain them, wow them.
Okay.
So I'm trying to say it in a respectful manner, because to me the whole thing was disrespectful as a woman. I don't care what caliber you think I am, it's disrespectful. So I'm trying to find the words, but more so as, okay, a woman like you, I gotta go take you on a trip to Jamaica. But the women I normally deal with, if I take them somewhere and buy them something locally, then they're wild.
they're good. Yeah.
And they feel like they've hit the jackpot.
Mm.
And I'm like,
so exposure.
and I'm just like,
Girl, my man took me to the mall.
yeah. So
We
that,
went to
and
the
that
Louis
was just the
store.
thing. And I'm just like, that is not impressive to me. That's really sad because that screams insecurity to me. But it just wowed me because I feel like that's the case a lot of times. And I ain't gonna say it's a good man. I'm just saying he deemed himself a good man, but
Self-proclaimed.
yeah, a self-proclaimed. I never. After that, that was it for me.
To play God's advocate just a little bit.
Go ahead.
I
would love your input. That's why I said it.
I think there might be something more to that because, I think often minimized aspect of when men say they don't want to date older women, I think is the fact that you're not as useful to a woman that you can't teach anything, right? You're not as impressive to a woman who has experienced a lot, right? Sure. And I think from a man's standpoint, we're looking for, and that's why virginity used to be so highly prized and things like that. We're looking for a blank slate.
Correct.
Right. We're looking for a canvas that we can paint. Right. For better or worse, we want we're looking for a woman who fits around our lifestyle, right? Not the other way around. I'm not trying to fit into your life. You have to fit into mine, right? And the higher the caliber of the man, the more he expects you to be malleable to be able to fit his lifestyle. On a shallow level, it's age. On a more on a deeper level, it's like, what's your experiential baggage, right? Is there room in your closet for my clothes, basically, for my style, for my likes, for my music taste, for my clothing taste and shit like that. And I think, unfortunately, the less sophisticated way that shows up is going after women that you can more easily wow,
Right.
more easily impress. She's never been out of the country before. She's never been out of the town before.
Right.
So like, versus this other woman, ain't really nothing you could do for her. So like, as men, if we feel like we're useless, we'll move around.
I think though, also with that one, I think that there's I don't know what the magic number or magic line is, but also the issue with that is just, in my opinion, is also that if she is, because to me it just sounds like exposure. It sounds like, what she's seen, what she's done, da. If she is too underexposed,
That's true too.
Exactly.
if she's too underexposed, that means once the exposure come,
That's my point.
then now it's like you don't know what ice creams you like. If you just had
Right.
strawberry ice cream your whole life, then you're like, oh man, it's this. So I think that's our challenge, my brother. I think that's our challenge, is trying to find
but the
That's
thing
what I'm
is,
saying. So you gonna lose.
but from a man's point of view,
Either way.
from a man's point of view, I think we will err on the side of she ain't experienced shit.
then experience
Then
too much.
she's experienced too much. Well, I could work with her,
Which is
right?
So you want vanilla ice cream. You don't want praline cream. You don't want praline.
That's literally what they're saying.
That's
That
okay.
blows my mind.
If I have the option, yeah. Yeah. And you
It's
know,
so
and
ghetto.
it's funny.
I
It's
just wanted to
funny.
hear it from his mouth.
It's
I couldn't wait
funny
to get you
because
guys.
you'll hear a lot of women, for
ghetto.
instance, they'll say, I got my passport, and even the show we're talking about, I got my passport, I make good money, this and that.
Oh,
and it's like, yes, that's great if you were a dude. But as far as us, our curriculum is different. Unfortunately,
different.
first of all, is how good do you look?
Yep.
And second of all, how enthusiastically could you get on my program? That's it.
You got to have a permit coming to a man, huh? Can't even have a license. I got to teach you how to drive.
I gotta teach
And don't let you know how to parallel
Oh
park.
my
man,
goodness,
you
you
are
out of here.
I'm-
You can't get in the door.
I'm gonna say
premises.
this, but I'm gonna say this
Okay.
to make it make a little bit more sense. So my first career after I graduated college was I was working for a mortgage company,
Okay.
right? And at this mortgage company, we were gathered around having a conversation with the manager, and he was like, we started this program to develop new mortgage loan originators because we wanted to teach you guys from scratch. We could have hired other established mortgage loan originators who were around through the recession and through 2008 and everything, but they're already set in their ways. They're not going to change how they set up a loan. They're going to keep setting up a loan when it was subprime loans and they were doing everything that led us into the recession in the first place. But y'all are brand new. Y'all are clean slate in the whole nine. We can teach you guys the right way to do it. That's how men think.
That's how businesses operate. Which is
Yeah.
so businesses will
I can
promote
make you what I
they'll
need you to be.
They'll promote from within up until like supervisory level.
Yeah.
But when it gets managerial, it's always an outside candidate
always
that
an
gets it.
outside.
It's always an outside candidate. And I've always wondered why that is.
That makes sense.
But I get it. Because I
Yep.
can
Yeah.
mold you to manage how I want you to manage, not how. Because somebody like me who's been here from the ground up, I see all the
You're
problems.
jaded.
I understand. I
You're
want to help
jaded.
make it better.
You're
But
jaded.
then what happened?
Y'all so men are basic. I don't care who get mad. Y'all are basic.
Because then, like he said, what happens when you do so, and then she becomes appealing to all these other men, and her loyalty is not where it should be, and now she has more exposure, and it's more ice cream out here that she won't, and now you've built that. and molded it for it to leave you, and now you are broken and traumatized and hate all of us.
I think that's where we become the best version of ourselves too.
That's when you
That's when we start talking about high value and things like that. Because even if you develop her, even when she began to find, she get more and more exposed, then she realized, this dude really is what it is. This dude really does mean business.
But see, I think the mistake a lot of us make is like we develop her superficially, but we don't develop her like mentally.
Yep.
That's
Right.
it.
So she her eyes get wide and shit like that, and she thinks, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna go get me a better man. It's like now you are older than you were when I met you.
Mm-hmm.
Now you don't understand. What's that?
You guys got to rag on this old ladies. I'm not at the table. Look.
Ladies. But you don't understand how the game actually works. You think because he thinks you're sexy, he wants to build a future with you.
Right.
Like what's that movie?
Boom.
That Tyler Perry movie, Temptation. You know what I'm saying? Where he gave the lady AIDS and shit like that. It's like, Lance Gross loved you, but he just wanted to, you know what I'm saying? He just wanted to do what he wanted to do with you. And unfortunately, I think that's where men fail. Number one, we don't properly assess women's character.
There it is. Yeah.
Right. We don't assess her character. We just develop her aesthetically and we just send her out to the wolves. Because the reality is, if you have a beautiful woman, a bunch of men are gonna be coming after her.
Yep.
Whether she's married to you or not, they've always been coming after her. They will continue to come after her. What principles does she have for herself, and what principles have you instilled in her?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I tell people, listen, the wife zone. It's gonna be controversial, maybe. The wife zone is like 6 to 8. 8 is if you're lucky. Anything above an 8, they not wise, bro. They not wise.
Danger.
There's exceptions.
They're exceptions, but the
ain't no
rule is
exceptions.
listen to me.
I heard that one.
Men get mad at me as well, but like even the whole point of the series was life is about Faustian bargains. It's about a deal with the devil. If you get this, you got to pay this.
Mm-hmm.
If she's beautiful, a bunch of men are going to be in her inbox. A bunch of people are going to try to take her away from you. She might not have had to develop a personality because she's relied on the gifts that God gave her. God and her genetics gave her. She's not going to be as reasonable. She's not going to be as understanding, as patient, as willing to.
She's not amenable to being molded.
Yeah.
But men don't think about that. Oh, she just fine. Her ass fat and her titties fat.
Or some are taught. I've had some say their father taught them a beautiful woman is harder to keep. Don't go for the pretty one.
Nope.
And I was like,
8 if you're lucky. 8
I
if
said,
you're
are
lucky.
you kidding?
8
He
if
said,
you're
my
lucky.
daddy taught me it takes too much to keep her.
Mm-hmm.
If
I
she
tell
has too
people all
many
the time,
options.
if
Listen,
she-
if I'm lying, I'm flying.
If she
believe you, girl. I ain't
is
had no daddy.
didn't
overly
either.
pretty,
His
and you'll
daddy
see
told
like the
him
Melissa
that
Fords and things
concerning
like
me.
that. If she is overly pretty, she's probably single.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen it.
Yep. Yeah. In fact, man, dude. In fact.
I think that was a
How
shot.
many times have
Like,
we-
I felt that.
Okay, I hear you. I feel you.
How many times have we had this conversation? Just keeping it on a as PG as possible.
You ain't got to be PG.
How many times we had this conversation? Think about where we be like, man, it seemed like. Oh, of course. Okay, we know exceptions to every rule. We throw that. All right, so
Sure.
Yeah,
We appreciate
yeah,
it.
yeah.
We
I gotta put the.
I ain't gonna say it.
I gotta put the disclaimer. I gotta put the disclaimer.
Go ahead now.
You're
But
all right with me.
we always talk about this, and we talk about smashing girls. Like some of the most prettiest girls be the ones that just lay there. Be the ones that just lay there.
He been in his own world his whole time.
Right.
They be the ones that just
Facts.
lay there. They be
got
the
that
ones
doubt.
that because they're so used to our theory is that they're so used to men doing everything for them that they don't even develop a sexual skill
Eli,
set.
24 years old, you know it.
They just there.
That's a
But
fact.
the ones that maybe they're not a 9, they not a 10. Let's say they a 6. He'd be like, man, where you learn that? How you learn that? Like they more engaged. It's crazy.
And it bleeds into other aspects of the relationship.
Girl, they
It
teared me
bleeds
up
into
tonight.
how does she handle conflict?
I'm sure.
Is she engaged or is she like, yeah, I'll just
Yeah.
get another nigga to do it? How does she handle chores around the house? How does she handle delegating finances, whatever the case may be? Same shit. And then the other thing too, God is a just God.
So we going to scripture.
Now you're bringing the biblical aspect.
Wait a minute.
Well,
That's my job.
In my personal experience, for the most part,
Go draw it out.
There's something we call WAP, amen, and then something we call DAP, amen.
Not amen on the cookie pie. It's on the
Oh boy.
You know something about dapping on the cookie pie.
There's a distribution of WAP and DAP that does not follow the attraction curve, unfortunately. The women that y'all see that you think are models and things like that, most of the time they got the, you see what I'm saying? But the women that she look homely, she might have some glasses, she real chill, she calm. Hey. If I'm lying, let me know.
I'm negative.
What did Ace used to call them in college? A pair of shacks. Ace, remember Ace used to call them pair of shacks? Like the ones that everybody overlook.
Come on,
but they actually turn out to be pretty decent.
And I see women, especially on TikTok, they'll be talking about like, why is it all the plain Janes get wife? That's why. That's why. That's why. Y'all playing checkers, she playing chess.
Boom.